Hey, we are setting ourselves up to go live to record this on YouTube Live. Those of you who do not want to be on a live video, please turn uh, your video off. You'll find the video with about a 45-second delay from this very moment um, up on NWSOFA.org, and it will be on there forever. You can go up, you can view it, you can share it to friends. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. So I'm really glad you're here today. Um, oh, where'd you go? I lost you. Ah, there we go. Found you again. Thanks. Apologize. All right. Welcome or welcome back to Sorting Soup. Whether you are here for the first time or you're a regular, Sorting Soup was designed to welcome everyone. And we are here to set the tone as a community to just welcome everybody in. Um, and whether you are just here to be a part of the chat or whether you are going to raise your hand and be a part of the conversation, we hope that you feel that this is a safe space. So this is a place for leaders and organizers and anyone searching for supportive dialogue. And today, I hope that we can listen deeply and share openly and see what ideas can emerge from our conversation. And I want to thank each and every one of you for bringing what is special about you to every single conversation. So let's get started. My name is Cecilia. I will be your host today. And Dr. Melissa is still reconfiguring her Thursday afternoon, so she will be without her, but we have Dr. Chris until 6 o'clock, so we'll be all right. We have Rebecca as our main timekeeper and tech support. We have Beth M as our main vibe check and chat monitor, not to mention we have Adrian and Merle as our metaphysical support in chat. I think we have Boot Money as well, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't see him on.
Okay, well, he might pop in later. All right, y'all. So if you have any questions, those are the people to kind of look for, okay?
Did you say Dr. Chris?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
She'll be here at 6.
All right. I blacked out for 5 seconds. Okay, here we go. All righty. So, everybody, welcome to Sorting Soup. For the first timers, just to kind of go over the purpose of the meeting, it's sort of a twofold purpose. It's a group space where we do analytical and emotional processing because there's a lot coming at us every day, and it's great to have a safe space to bounce ideas off of other folks and just share how these things are hitting us. And then the second aspect is once we're doing the processing, we're gathering insights and seeing if we can transform that into action items or strategies or tactics, like so that we're not just cycling, we're turning that into solutions, ideally. And this all started a couple of months ago after a particularly lengthy coffee and conversation after party. And it really just highlighted a need for this kind of a meeting where we needed a little extra time to go deeper on certain topics and also wanted to turn emotions into action. So that's our goal for the day. So we will structure our agenda around that, and we'll go through that in just a second. We meet on Thursdays at 5 o'clock Central, and we will have a absolute hard stop at 6:30 so that the 7 o'clock meeting team has time to set up. So we'll be ending at 6:30 today. In terms of group norms, we will have a discussion section where participants are encouraged to add to the discussion. In order to do that and not have everyone talking at the same time, we do ask folks to raise their digital hand. The way that you do that is in the Zoom menu. You find the reaction or react button. It's like a heart icon. You'll click that, and then there's a raise hand option, and that'll get you in line to share your observations or feelings or contributions. We do ask that you keep when you're making your comments, to keep everything civil and constructive. Ideally, solutions oriented, but understand that sometimes emotional processing needs to happen before we can start thinking about solutions. Um, and then, no spamming the chat. If you post something once, that's usually sufficient. And then knowing that some of these topics are or can be heavy, if you need to take breaks, you need to step away. If you need to take some deep breaths, we're going to do that together at the beginning, but if you need to take a break during, absolutely feel free to do that. So today, our agenda is split into two main parts. We're going to do processing, so that's the more emotional, analytical side where we talk through some current events, some current issues that we're facing. We have some prompts for discussion, but this is pretty loose. So if there is something else that's on your mind, it is a pretty open conversation. As long as we're keeping things civil and constructive, we're fairly open. So we'll have about 30 minutes for that. And the second half of our agenda will be around brainstorming or thinking about action items that we can all individually take. And we'll spend about 30 minutes on that. So again, once we get to the prompts, in order to participate, you'll just raise your digital hand, and each speaker will have around 2 minutes for your comments. But if you have more to say, you can re-raise your hand again and come back and share more. Okay, and our theme today will be government trying to exert control versus how the people are exerting power through resistance. So there is sort of a thread of hope, I think. So
I
that's
think there's
where, go ahead.
I think there's a beautiful thread of hope
Awesome.
in this existence. But all right, so
Okay.
thank you, Rebecca. But first, the Bardo. So wherever you are, please make sure that you are grounded. And by that, I mean you are seated and or laying firmly, in which you can breathe deeply. So I need you to inhale for the count of 4, and be able to listen to my voice. So with the deep breath, in for 4, breathe in through your nose, drawing in courage, clarity, community. Pause, hold in the threshold, the bardo, the space between fear and action, and exhale. Release through your mouth letting go of the tension, the doubt, the isolation. Rest in stillness, remembering that we move together. We'll do 2 more of those. So we're going to breathe in through our nose, drawing in courage, clarity, and community. Hold in the space between fear and action, and release, letting go of tension, doubt, and isolation. And then we rest for 2, remembering that we move together. And finally, the last one, deep breath, drawing in all that courage, clarity, and community. Pause, hold in the breath, in the threshold, in the bardo, the space in between, in our fear, in between that fear. And then we exhale and get rid of all of that tension, that doubt. Just let it go. Fear, isolation. Rest. And remember, we move together. Okay. We are here. We are in between. We are becoming. We are moving forward, y'all. We are moving out of the bardo into the future. Let's step into the soup together. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Open your eyes and come out with me. So today, we are going to be discussing government control, science and medical misinformation, false Tylenol and autism link, interfering with truth, pressuring Pentagon press corps to get approval before publishing, suppressing dissent, Antifa, protest branded as terrorism, threats of mass firings if government shutdown comes to pass, versus the people's resistance. Kimmel's back. Isn't that nice? And Adelita Grijalva won the rep seat in Arizona, which means we have enough to get Epstein's files released, or at least we will very soon. And we have an update on something called the Empowerment Collective. And I can't wait for y'all to hear about it.
All right, folks. So if any of you have any kind of thoughts or reactions or things that you would like to discuss, whether it's these topics from the past week or so, or something else, feel free to raise your hand. And I see Julia has her hand up. So go ahead.
Well, one thing that really bothered me was I actually am a person on the autism spectrum, and what Donald said about what Donald and RFK Jr. say about autism and with the vaccines, that like infuriates me. Like, and my cousin is pregnant. I just worry about her.
I completely understand. I too have family on on the spectrum and was once pregnant, had to take Tylenol for my pains. My dear, I can only fathom what you must have felt, but I we're here for you. If you need to vent,
Yeah.
feel free.
Mhm.
Raise your hand again as many times as you need. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for speaking up. Bruce, you're up next.
If Jeannie wants to go first, that's fine with me.
Okay, Miss Jeannie.
I have been so disturbed about the, the government and religion going into our precious schools. I was so thrilled today to read that Oklahoma superintendent. He was the one that supposedly two ladies observed some off-color video in the background
That
while
would be
he was
pornography, Jeannie. Let's just call it what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the porn superintendent.
Yep.
He was he resigned. From
Yes.
what I understand, and this is the most awful part about it, is that the Bibles that he had issued to each of his schools eliminated or omitted the amendment about India. And there is no telling what you know I could see him eliminating a part of the Constitution every day, but from what I understand, and I may not be correct, that was what finally you know convinced him that maybe it was better for him to move on. But I was so thrilled to hear that.
Yeah, I was too.
I was so
I
thrilled.
Miss Jeannie, I moved to Illinois from Oklahoma. I know what Ryan Walters has done to the Oklahoma school system.
Just devastated. Just has
He has
devastated
it. Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Jeannie.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay. Good evening from Palm Beach County, Florida. And talking about school systems, think of what we've been going through in Florida
I know.
for many years under DeSantis. And we unfortunately lead the pack of right-wing how you deal with the school system. But I want to talk about, first off, I feel bad for Julia and this medical misinformation.
Yeah.
I've been saying, and I said this since Indivisible wanted us to call about certain nominees, and Kennedy was one of them, and I've been saying it. I'm calling my senator, don't approve him, don't approve him. He's a danger to the health of the United States, our citizens, our children, and so forth. Carolyn Kennedy wrote quite a letter, and I heard it because it was also audio. Warning the senators about his character and about him and his anti-vax theories and all that. He needs to go, meaning resign or be fired. But Trump won't because he's a Kennedy, despite the fact none of the Kennedys want him there. So that's the first one. And the next one is the Pentagon situation. This is prior restraint under the First Amendment for them to want the press to have to sign something that they won't publish anything unless it's first approved by the Pentagon. To me, and I know we have Ori on the phone on here as well. She can tell me if I'm right or wrong or whatever. It's a violation of the First Amendment, probably. I do know there's an exception for if there's something interfering with national security. But let's face it, all along there hasn't been this approval needed, and it's not going to be classified information. So I don't know how they could say that they can do this. I think it's a violation of free press, and that's authoritarian, and someone needs to challenge it. As far as the Antifa executive order, Antifa isn't even an organization, and it's about anti-fascists who resort to violence. And the fact of the matter is, it's very possible. Who knows who he's going to use this against, and how he's going to interpret it. And again, it's too much executive authority for him, and it can be really abused in what he does with it. So that's a problem. And as far as the mass firings go, this shows how cruel these people are. Russell Vogt on the Office of Management and Budget, and Trump. And in the past, when there's been a government shutdown, they've furloughed people, which meant they didn't work. Some did work, and they get paid later once the shutdown's over. This way, they're eliminating positions. They've already eliminated so many positions. They need these positions. In fact, it was just an article the other day that they're looking for more people in a certain department. So this is really concerning. It's cruel and mean to the government employees, and a slap in their face and to their morale. And he's using it as political leverage over the Democrats. And we're telling or at least I'm telling the Democrats, and I called Schumer's office today, hold firm. If they won't negotiate, if it's a shutdown, it's their shutdown. Trump shut down, the Republican shutdown, not the Democrat shutdown.
And we have to hold firm. I mean, we have to keep calling Schumer's office and Hakeem Jeffries' office and our own representatives, just at one after another. Keep calling them. Don't let them back down.
Yeah, Senate Democrats are most important because they need 7 or 8 of them in order to pass it.
Right. I mean, just don't let them back down, y'all. Keep calling them. Keep the pressure on. They need to hear from you. They need to know that you have their back, because otherwise those spines they get flimsy if we don't have they, you hear me. All right, Bruce, is that all?
I'm probably over time already, so.
Oh, well, that's okay. You can always raise your hand again. All right, Dr. Hank, you're up. Ooh, where'd you go? Dr.
Of
Hank?
his 2025 meetings, that the plan was to, we've all heard this quote probably, put them in trauma. When they were first firing, I mean, that was the point. The point was to, numb people, scare people, so that they wouldn't revolt when they were first fired, and they would be so disoriented that they would have effectively no choice but to leave their jobs. And he said, in the same context, that if they didn't do it voluntarily, then force would have to be used. I mean, so sorry to use this expression. I don't mean it in terms of violence, but we are at war. We've been at this war for a while. This is not news. But speaking of war and Pentagon, I will just say this, and I don't want to add to our list of horror shows because we got plenty. But I will just say personally, if there's any more room for worry, this sort of mysterious meeting that Hexeth is called, of generals from all over the effing world, not to mention within the U.S., what the hell is that about? I mean,
that's a very good question.
I mean, of course, it lends itself to the most lurid fantasies, but in this world, lurid fantasies have a way of becoming reality. So I'm not going to predict that, God forbid, but I'm just, I guess, putting it out there because, I mean, along with everything else, my goodness, what the heck is that going to be? I'm wondering.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
When this White House gets gets when he gets embarrassed
Right.
or when he makes a mistake, he does something big
Right.
to cover it up. So I'm worried, like
Right.
you, that this might be that
Right.
he might be doing something to cover up a
Right.
mistake, like that horrific hour-long UN
Gosh.
speech that he just made,
Right.
right?
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't know.
Yeah.
So
Well, I guess we'll unfortunately find out in some form or other. But anyway, putting it out. But yeah.
I agree. I'm worried about that too. When I saw that come up, I was yeah. But I would also say that this false Tylenol autism link
Right.
and the Pentagon going after the history of their female,
Right.
like there's an attack on women coming
Right.
from this from the government that cannot be denied. Like just a
Absolutely.
awesome just attack on women. And
Absolutely.
I think that there's something to that they know that
Mhm.
women are the large majority of who's coming for them, right?
Right.
And especially even in litigation against Donald Trump personally.
Right.
Anyway, that's just something that I have in the back of my
Yeah. Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. And apparently a disproportionate number of these military folks who are coming are women. People who are
Yeah.
yeah, you were saying that. So yeah, I mean, we'll find out, I guess, what the connection
Yes,
is. But
Celia,
you know,
Dr. Hank. So, I just retired from the federal service, so I actually used to work for DoD and the Pentagon.
huh,
Or well, I work for Department of Army, but work closely with the Pentagon. And so, this is unprecedented
yeah,
to bring general officers in physically to a meeting. So if it was kind of an update, you would do it via Zoom because you're actually pulling them out of their, wherever they're stationed all over the world.
mm,
That creates a vulnerability in and of itself to take our
I was about
top
to say, isn't
leadership.
that safety? Like,
Yeah, even put them all in one place. Can think
right.
about that. We're putting all our top military leadership in one place. Like so,
and we're
um,
telling the world that we're doing it. I
and
apologize for
we're
interrupting.
No, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah, no worries. And then the other thing that's unprecedented is to not know what you're going to be talking about. So in other words, to say it's top secret, we're not telling you. So there is stuff flying around, but it's new. So there's speculation. Could
yeah,
it be whatever's going on with Russia and planes over Alaska? That's one thing. And you can even imagine
mhm,
the possibility of a war. I'm more worried about internal civil, like giving them a heads up that
right.
we may be, things are escalating because think of the narrative Antifa. And
Mhm,
then if Antifa is translated to, oh, we're the, protesters, et
right.
cetera, et cetera, then you can see where, yeah, so this could go in a number of different directions. There's one speculation about, hey, because he's talking about reducing the number of generals.
Right.
But you wouldn't bring people in to tell them their position was going to be fired, right? You
Mm,
would just fire them like they've been doing now. So yeah, it's more to follow, but it's highly unusual what's happening.
indeed.
Highly unusual.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. All right. Jeannie, why'd you put your hand down? Oh,
Oh, I was just gonna say that I he might be trying to lull me into a more secure place, but that his statement about backpedaling and saying that the Ukraine it would the Ukraine could easily win back the territory that they had lost, and then starting to sound like they were going to do start to meet on developing another party for another state for the Palestinians in Gaza. So I'm I'm sure it was just to lull us into a secure state, but I mean everything they do is alarming. but
yeah.
but it was one of those little glimmers of you know, sometimes you think may everything he's going to do is always going to be financially beneficial for him. But sometimes the good things might be financially beneficial for some reason that we don't understand right now. So, you know, when I saw it, there was just like a little spark of hope. So I don't know.
That's all right. That's all right. All right. Boot money. What's up?
Unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to add to something that Dr. Chris was saying. All right. In the mid-50s, there was a senator from Wisconsin that created a lot of turmoil in government. And he had everybody frightened to death that he was going to do something, disclose something about them. So he had pretty much everybody kowtowed up until he decided to take on the United States Army, right? And I think the lesson from that we can apply here is that the military isn't our enemy. The military is really the enemy of these guys trying to pull this stuff because the military is committed to the Constitution, not to any royal family. You know, that's something the Brits had to put up with, and they got rid of it. Our military is our military, and most of the people that I'm related to or have known in the military see that as their first responsibility. So I think we need to, if we have contacts within the armed forces, we should reinforce those contacts and remind them that, you know, in uniform, they represent all of us and they are responsible for the maintenance and protection of our Constitution. I think this is an organization that might be able to pull that off. Anyway, that's just a loose comment, Cecilia.
Yeah, thank you. It's understandable. And yeah, I hear that. And I get everything that what Bruce said about Antifa not being an organization. We all know that. We all know that Antifa is not an organization because we don't know anybody in Antifa. I'd like to know, like, if any of y'all know anybody in Antifa, I would just love any of you to tell me.
It is just mind-boggling to me still that they're villainizing. That's not a word. Is that a word?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Antifa, meaning anti-fascist. So if you're
I know.
anti-fascist, that's pro-fascist. Like you're just saying the part that you're not ever supposed to say because it's bad. You're admitting to it. It just my brain cells can't take it. We're up in the upside down.
We are in the upside down. Literally. That's what we're living in. And Bruce, go right ahead.
I just wanted to respond to boot money.
Go for it.
Sure, the military is supposed to, you know, they've taken an oath to the Constitution, not to a man. But if they're given illegal orders, it may, depending on the individual, it may be difficult to stand up to it. And look at in Vietnam, I think it was called Melee or something like that. And there have been a couple of other situations. And I would hope that they could stand up to their oath to the Constitution. But who knows how much pressure is going to be put on them if there are illegal orders. And hopefully there are no illegal orders.
Yeah, they've already been. I mean, I think they've already been given illegal orders. I mean,
Right.
if any of those things that have happened in the Caribbean and in I mean, shooting a tuna fish boat. I just can't imagine that those are, I don't know.
Oh,
We
well,
don't-
let me discuss that. I didn't even think of that. There's an article I just read. I don't remember if I posted it today or if I'll get to it tomorrow in the coffee meeting. But the article had to deal with that very issue and that there could be criminal liability for the people who are actually doing the shooting. So
Right.
they got to be careful because right now we don't. I wouldn't be surprised it violates international law if it's
They,
done in international waters and they're being judge, jury, and executioner all at the same time. Um, and
speaking of
you
that
know this
exactly,
is very concerning. If they what they're supposed to do is, from what I understand, the Coast Guard boards a boat and they look, and then if they find drugs, they arrest the people and bring them into custody. But you don't go shooting them out of the water and killing them. And it's happened 3 times now, and who knows how many other times. And we don't know whether they're drug dealers or not. But even if they are, that's not how you deal with them.
exactly.
It's
And
vigilantism almost.
speaking of that exactly, other countries are calling for the international criminal courts to get involved, and they're calling for the United States to be dragged before the international criminal courts. So we've just been insulated from it because we have so much going on that are like yeah. So boot money.
Up again. Hey, maybe I needed to explain the lesson from Joe McCarthy a little bit clearer. Yeah, Bruce, you're absolutely correct. Our military might, under certain conditions, do illegal things under orders, and they should be held accountable for it. But when the military senses that its prerogatives within our society are being threatened, like Joe McCarthy tried, they know how to defend themselves, and they ended Joe McCarthy. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this Hegsworth or whatever he is survives trying to mess around with the senior officers of our armed services because they do have a very high degree of self-preservation as an organization. Us as an organization have the ability to have a lot of people apply pressure. The military responds to that. So we're not in a terrible position, even though we look at some of the awful things that are being done, because they will become our allies eventually. That's all. That's what I think. The entire Joe McCarthy U.S. Army thing was all about. It established who really is the power here. So
So you're the historian. I'm not. I, of course, know about Joe McCarthy, but I don't know how it ended. And you apparently do. So,
All right.
unfortunately, I lived through it, Bruce.
well,
With a
I was
with
alive,
a
but
highly
I was a
political
little kid. I don't
family.
remember any of it.
No, he just said a highly political family.
Oh,
Yeah.
But
All right.
ultimately it ended right with him being taken out of position, right? Boot money? Meaning he was pressured.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I
pushed
mean,
it too
they
far.
were,
So that's a good news story, meaning the last
yes,
time we had
indeed.
somebody try this, right?
They destroyed him. He
Yeah.
died he died a hopeless drunk, unfortunately. I don't know whether he was an alcoholic, but he did drink himself to death. So they did a number on him because he thought he was going to wind up pulling some stuff and getting some of his friends rank, and it backfired. But Rachel Maddow had an excellent um, podcast that covers this same period, but it also includes this guy McCarthy, who is the prototype for like people like this Kirk and Bannon and those people. They are direct descendants of the way that this Joe McCarthy operated in the 50s. They use fear, they use threats, they use a lot of money. But they messed with the wrong people when they took on the armed forces. So, yeah, that's our hope, I think, at this point in time, because we're not going to be able to outspend them.
All right. Okay. I hear that. Okay. Thanks, Boot. Donna, you're up.
Hi. I just wanted to push back on some news speak I've been hearing. You know, they always do these shorthand, catchy phrases when they're talking about something big, and it just annoys me. And we've sort of adopted some of it, maybe by accident. Political enemies. That is not the proper term for. These are career prosecutors and judges doing their damn jobs righteously. They are all been labeled political enemies by Newspeak. And that's not what they were. They were doing their jobs. They weren't some, Democrat or Republican or independent person acting in a political capacity. They were acting for justice and crime enforcement, whatever. Official capacities. So everybody's now a political enemy, even though that's not what they are at all. Thanks. My rant.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding us. I appreciate it. All right. Sarah, you're up next.
I'm sorry, can you skip me? I'm trying to find the Netflix I want to reference.
That's cool. That's cool.
Thanks.
I'll come back to you. All right. Carolyn, you're up.
Okay, I got a question. I thought McCarthy was am I saying that right? He was like accusing everybody of being communists, right?
Yes.
So that's different than what's going on now.
Yeah, now they're accusing people of being Antifa. So
Oh, okay. I didn't get it because
yeah,
And
that's
now,
the
we're just go ahead.
because I'm not Antifa, so I didn't even think about it. But so are they going to start hauling us in and questioning? I mean,
Nobody's Antifa.
I
Antifa is
know.
not a thing.
I know,
and
but
even the communist stuff was that's
not
why
real.
he eventually was taken out. People were being accused of being this, scary communist, whatever, and he was just going after. Yeah, so
right. And he would
A
call
lot
them
of-
in. They had to testify before him and all that stuff. So is
A
that
lot.
their plan to haul us in and question us?
Don't worry about us. We're too far down on the totem pole. But they blacklisted a lot of people in Hollywood.
Right. I
Right.
know. Only
Yeah, that's
reason I
why.
know.
And another thing was his attorneys, the attorneys for the committee. One was Robert Kennedy, surprisingly, but another one was Roy Cohen, who was somebody who Trump is trying to, wants as his type of an attorney, because the guy was a mean SOB. I mean, he was really a nasty attorney, and that's
who we
what
learned
Trump
from.
wants.
Yeah, that's who we learned from. That's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Merle. I love that picture.
Oh, thank you. That was us last Friday night, and I'll be out there again this Friday night doing that on the overpass. I just want to say Antifa is an ideology, not a group. And so how can they come after it? But at the same time, I also want to say, because I did know people that were Antifa, that being my mother and father, my aunt, many other souls in World War II were all Antifa. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. And you're right. I'm Antifa. I was thinking
Yeah.
this, okay. I was thinking about this earlier, and I know that if this gets cropped by any right wing or any right wing organization, that I'm going to pay for it down the road. But what is the problem with embracing Antifa?
The problem
know what the
is
problem-
it's with
I-
violence.
Yes.
And
okay.
you're not advocating violence.
I
Jeez.
know. I've thought this through, Bruce. This is a rhetorical question. But from the beginning of my thought process, so what is the problem with embracing Antifa? Because we are Antifa, right? We are anti-fascist, and we are a peaceful movement. We embrace, like, we go about it in a peaceful way. We blah blah blah. And so as I go through my thought process, I realize it doesn't matter what we do. They will take every single event from the past that has ever been in any way violent and in any way left wing, and they will attach it to Antifa and they will blame it on us. So that is why we can never claim Antifa as our label, unfortunately. Now, does that mean we cannot be Antifa in our hearts? Of course not. Of course we're Antifa. We're anti-fascist. But we can never have that as our flag, as our label, because it's an ideology. It's not a group. And nobody's the leader of it. Nobody's, there's no weekly meetings, or, nobody's underground, whatever. Yeah.
I think
Well,
we should organize a group that's called FUFA, and that's the nonviolent wing of Antifa.
Yeah.
Well, the other challenge with this is, even if you Google it on, like, let's say Wikipedia, it does talk about, this being a movement, left-wing, anti-fascist, anti-racist political movement, decentralized, but then it goes on to say some who identify as Antifa also use tactics involving digital activism, doxing, harassment, physical violence, and property damage. Supporters of this movement aim to combat far-right extremists, including neo-Nazis and white supremacists. So we do have, and this was probably relevant during the Black Lives Matter. That's when you started seeing that label come up sometimes. And then, as someone reminded me on the coffee and conversation call, she just sent me a message. She said, actually, because I think we were talking about it then, there were even some right-leaning groups that call themselves Antifa, and so it just, so back to the brand, probably we can't say we're Antifa. We probably wouldn't want to say we're Antifa, because that's what they want us to say, right?
Right.
And believe that we're this organized secret group funded by dark George Soros money, which of course, and we're all paid protesters, blah, blah, blah. So don't feed into it. But every opportunity I do push back and say, well, of course, I'm anti-fascist, if that's what you're saying. Aren't you anti-fascist? Or can you talk me through, so push back on that. And then, of course, you've seen that meme going around with the World War II people, putting the flag up saying, this is Antifa, right? So that reminding that, yes, we Americans were anti-fascist, and hopefully you're anti-fascist now too. So anyway.
Well, except I'm looking at the executive order right now, September 22. Here's the first sentence, and it's a little different. Antifa is a militaristic, anarchist enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the U.S. government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law. We don't advocate that at all.
What's the source for that?
That's the executive order, but what they're fabricating.
That's
they're
their
making
version.
a boogeyman that doesn't exist.
Well, that's the one going after?
Yeah,
I don't think who they're going after actually exists.
this, exactly.
Well,
But
we know that.
So
Okay.
they're putting words, it's like they're putting words in our mouth.
they're creating a new boogeyman, okay? Because that's what they're doing. So this is a new enemy, and as I mentioned on that other call, they're already, when you have any kind of protesters, just like there were 2 protesters at the Charlie Kirk vigil, and the big headline said, "To Antifa, people were arrested at the Charlie Kirk." So are you connecting the dots here? So I'm already seeing what's coming down the pipe. But hey, guys, I've got to go. I have a meeting with our volunteer group, and I will see you next Sorting Soup. Bye.
All
Bye,
right.
Chris.
Bye, Dr. Chris.
Bye.
Okay, so we're a little late on the brainstorming. Sorry, guys. Here's some starters. So how do we talk about resistance in a way that feels empowering rather than reactive? What local actions could we take to highlight the press freedom, truth in science, or freedom to dissent? Where are the cracks we see in 47's control, and how can we widen them? That's a good one. And what are the real world What are the real world dangers when elected officials spread false medical information and blame women? And how can our communities respond? And also, once again, these are just suggestions. You can talk about anything. So,
And I know that Beth has added information from the Empowerment Collective into the chat. And I don't know if she's available to talk about it. Otherwise, either Cecilia or I could pinch hit.
I am available to talk about it.
Woohoo!
There we go. Okay. I would
my internet crashed, and then I had to download because my slide person didn't get them together.
Sorry, girl.
All right.
Anywho, so there is a woman in Michigan, Ferndale area, named Jordan Grubel, and she started a group called the Empowerment Collective, and she's on Facebook. She also has a website. However, I don't have the link right at the moment. But if you go on Facebook and look up Empowerment Collective, and if you look through the pictures I put, there should be one that shows her, like her label. It's like a light purple background with a sword with wings, and it says Empowerment Collective on it. But she is part of the Indivisible Fighting 9 group outside the Detroit area, and she supports local groups and national movements. She lets us all put our advertise on her page, as well as the stuff that she comes up with. She does fundraisers like gather toiletries for teens and homeless women. She writes an educational series about what the regime is doing and what we can do to push back and to educate other people. She also does self-care series to remind ourselves that we are human people and we matter as much as the movement does. And her latest project is called The Silent Underground, and you actually need a password to get into it. And it was locked in a little wooden box with a lock. So if anyone's interested, I'll post the password later. But it has like different ways to care for yourself, but it also has ways to kind of step back from the front line a little bit. There is a ghost that is the representative of the Silent Underground, and that's so you're kind of ghosting from the front line, and just you could still work from the back, sending letters, sending postcards, signing petitions. And she provides letter templates on her page, and she also has gatherings, and they're called DIY dissent gatherings, when she supplies all the supplies to make posters for the protests and rallies. She supplies all the letter templates. She even provides stamps and envelopes, so you can mail your letter right there.
Okay.
She makes buttons, and she provides little yummy packets with stickers and homemade bracelets and lip balm. And what else do I have? And that's all, I think. So I am going to continue to post some things periodically in the chat. And I will look up her web address, and you guys can send me a message. If anybody's interested, I think it's fun. It's like, it has great graphics, and she provides lots of information, and it keeps you involved, to the level where you want to be involved at, a lot, or sitting right here in my chair. So whatever you want to do.
My
Awesome.
favorite part was it was like mini accomplishments where it was like, I took a shower today. That
Oh
little,
yeah,
yeah, pat myself on the back.
right.
Like sometimes it's a struggle and we should get points
Mhm.
for doing the things.
Yeah,
The little
because I
things.
mean, there's a lot of times, I mean, you guys know, we're on Zoom from sun up to sundown, and we might take a couple hours on Sunday, maybe to eat a decent meal,
Yeah, there's a reason why I have this do-rag on. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's a mishmash of stuff, but I think she's super talented. She's very smart, and the presentation, I think, is what turned me on to it the most, as well as the information. So thanks for listening, and I will tell her that she got all kind of shout outs tonight because I wasn't able to get in touch with her.
Beth, what's the empowerment password? Deanna has to leave.
Okay, well, let me post that. Just one moment, please.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Miss Constance, you're up. You have to unmute though. Oh, where'd you go? You pushed the wrong button.
There. Okay.
There you go.
I was on a different screen, but so I'm reacting to, I think, the last item about how can we push back, or what's going on with his constantly putting down women or demeaning them in some way. I mean, he, calls women in Congress, tells them to go back where they came from if they're, not white and, blonde and stuff. And he, it's all part of the disrespecting both education and women, because both things are dangerous. Education helps people understand that what he says is not true. What RFK says is not true. Women are dangerous because many women, not enough, but I would say the kind of women who are on this call understand what a cad and a dangerous man Trump is. They see through him in that respect. He can't have that. So he's got to do everything he can to make it hard for women to get by, to get through school, to get a job, to keep a job, to live a middle class life. Um, if they're not independently wealthy, they're uh, I'm mixing the metaphor here, but they're kind of like whipping boys. They have to take every hard thing that he's doing to people. They're likely to be on that other end of it. So it's a very sick relationship he has with women. He often, if you think of the abuser's triangle, which is the accuser, the victim, and the rescuer, he hits all three sides of that triangle and rolls in that triangle. He's the abuser, and then he comes and rescues, and then he's what's the other one? Rescue, abuse, and a victim. And then he's the victim. He plays the victim all the
Plays the
time.
victim.
So it's a very sick relationship he has with everybody, but I think women are especially vulnerable to his sickness.
I completely agree. And I think that people who work for him utilize that within his campaign, within the MAGA movement. I think that they know that they have a lot of people who have trauma, who work, who have trauma in their past, and that they work off that and they just play with it and they don't care. They take their money and don't care.
And you notice the women that he puts forward, like the woman he just named to be the district attorney in Eastern Virginia, they're all kind of model looking and with the long straight hair and the big sunglasses and everything. They're all of a look. And if you, which is a glamorous plus hard look. And if you, it's a way of saying, hey, well, I appoint women, but they are a certain kind of women who aren't a type that do not resemble, I would say, most women in the country.
Definitely. There is a certain type you have to be. And if you notice, there are many videos about this, MAGA women. A lot of them, they get plastic surgery to look like a certain, like, because you have to stay young in the MAGA circle. Like if you don't stay young looking, you get booted.
Yeah.
And that's why there aren't a lot of MAGA women in the upper echelons of his. Not to mention that they don't think women are equal to men, so there wouldn't be a lot of MAGA in the upper echelons. But he also just plastic surgery is expensive.
Botox, yeah, right. So yeah, and some of them have been abused women and still are abused. I hearing that the Department of Education secretary is of that group.
My goodness,
with abusive husbands. So
insane.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just my musings, but I have to urge people to think about what he's doing with women because it's a very sick relationship.
And here's the really big thing, y'all. Because he is doing this, because the president of the United States is behaving like this, it makes it okay for every other man to behave that way. It makes it okay for every other man to talk that way. And because he dismisses domestic violence, well, that's not really a crime. Then that makes it okay.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. You just said that last week. Yeah.
Right. Like that. And I'm not saying that that's okay. Obviously, we're not saying, but in the minds of these other men, that makes it in, because they put him on such a pedestal that if he says it's okay, then that makes it okay.
Right.
That's why their attacks on women are so dangerous, y'all. That's why when they say don't take Tylenol, that's why it's so dangerous.
Right. I had a guy with a Trump sign on his car. I was stopped at a four-way stop at St. Viator High School where my son went to school, and I was on the right side. I made a conscious effort because I saw the other car to stop fully and then proceed, and I was first, so I could proceed. He took out after me and chased me in his car and pulled up aside, to the side of me and started yelling. And he was in a BMW. And I just thought, and then I drove past the police department. He left, but I just thought this is, this is what they've been empowered to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking of
Go ahead.
empowerment, does anybody have like any brainstorming, like action ideas? I have a couple that I could just mention. In terms of local actions to take to highlight freedom to dissent, if anybody who's physically able can find protest opportunities, I would highly encourage you to do it. Go with a friend, go with several friends. You're going to have a huge opportunity to do so on October 18th, which is No King's Day too. And if anybody is like, what is No King's Day? I think the website is nokings.org, and you can go to the map and find the giant list of protests that are going to happen that day. Really encourage people to get out there because the more people that are out there, the more visible it is. And the more visible it is, the more comfortable everyone can be when you're doing protests. So the other thing that I can mention, oh, and some people have their hands up, so I'll stop for now. Go ahead, Merle.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I was slow on the taking the mute off. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that Leah and Ezra today on the What's the Plan call talked about getting behind or standing aside of our representatives, Democratic representatives, hopefully, who are pushing back against the Republicans and letting them know somehow that we are standing with them, like letting them feel the energy is how they described it. So calling, writing them and asking them to continue to have, that we will continue to support them if they continue to fight for getting Medicaid coverage back and et cetera, et cetera. Thanks.
Yes, we need to be buoying those officials and representatives that are on our side. And we need to be nagging the crap out of those who are not on our side. For sure. Beth.
Hey.
Hey, you got your hand up, babe.
Yeah. Hey, it's me again. So I was just reading, a lot of you guys might not know, so I have a transgender friend who's running for a state seat.
Yes.
And we had a city council person in Wyandotte say some hateful things towards the transgender community, as well as the fact that he wanted to see the murderer of CK be shot in the town square.
Lovely.
So I just was reading that because he won't step down and the mayor won't make him step down, that we're doing a petition to make him step down. So, to Rebecca's, how we can push back and being empowered, and so your guys' Illinois group did that letter where over 350 groups signed, and we sent them to all the Democratic senators. So why don't we just start doing more petitions geared towards the senators?
Good question.
I like it. I also like it. I liked especially the element where it was like, we're going to flood them with copies of this thing and be annoying, the annoying aspect. Remember?
And
Yeah.
yeah, not just flood them with copies, but make sure you call them afterwards to make sure they
Yeah.
got the copies. Like there was like legitimate like annoyance and frustration involved. It was great. Yes,
Yeah.
agreed. Thank you, Beth. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
very much. Great idea. Mary Lisa.
Hi, everybody. I don't know, whether this would be something, but when Marjorie Taylor Greene stepped forward and actually agreed to the Epstein files being released when the victims spoke.
Yes.
I drafted a letter to her. I've not sent it yet, but I feel like, I don't know, should we as women be reaching out to these women and saying, like, what are you doing?
For sure.
And my letter to her included a lot of what you are all saying. I'm sure you were flattered when you were chosen, but you were chosen because they knew you wouldn't, don't let the flattery get in the way of of your own thinking,
Right.
because I think that is how it works. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of times, I mean, even, I was a school administrator, and I was pretty much told to be grateful that I was, hired and made a principal, not because I was good at what I was doing,
Of course not. It wasn't. I'm sorry.
And so, yeah, so I that's just something I thought about, maybe we just need to reach out to them and say,
Snap out of it.
I'm getting a mad face from somebody, so I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you. Sarah.
Oh my God, I'm on the night.
Oh my God. Okay.
Shit,
no!
What the hell?
Sorry about that, folks. Did you send?
I stopped the video.
Okay.
I then lost him. I apologize.
I'm sending the report to Zoom.
Thank you.
Okay. Did we, if they come back into the waiting room, don't let them in. They were under Adrian's name, so.
That's how they do it.
Really unfortunate.
Sneaky.
Well, the thing is, what gets me, and I wish I could say to these guys that post this, like, we know you're immature because we've seen it, honey.
Yeah.
Like,
right?
ain't no thing. Okay.
That wasn't really
Like,
anything.
like, come on, like, wasting our time. And the other night, this is actually one of the questions I wanted to ask early on. It was more, and I want to say tonight is more of a free flow, and I appreciate that because I feel like we've been really, you're right. We have all been fighting the good fight. We've all been doing our best, and we're all at different stages and stuff. Sorry, my dog, every time I get on here, he goes nuts.
Okay.
She's got a big giant bark too. Hold on. She's from San Antonio Kill Shelter. 9 weeks old. They're gonna kill her. So San Antonio's the worst. If you ever need to adopt a dog, San Antonio, kill them all the time, 10 a day. So the lady before, I'm like, look at you reclaiming womanhood, that's great. There's a something in the algorithm last night on YouTube. I was trying to text to my husband, like, what is that thing? I don't remember, but there's a documentary, and it's of a leader that was unalived by his military. And I'm like, isn't that interesting? So we're going to settle in tonight and watch that. But I couldn't find it on my own. I'm like, I don't even remember. But I'm like, I had never heard of it. And he had never heard of it. And we're like, what is this? And why is it feeding to? Was this, I just found that interesting. And there was one other thing I wanted to mention. I mentioned this to someone else earlier today, but I've been breaking down words. I'm trying to, you said, what is, Rebecca, you said, what's something you can do as like an action item? What I've been doing is I've been taking words I hear all the time and looking them up, even though I think I know, and breaking them down into like 4 or 5 words. And it's really interesting where you go with that. And because I know old words evoke old responses. And
That's
right.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to like break it down to something more relatable to everyone. And the talk of trauma keeps coming up, you know, like people experiencing trauma, and part of that, they don't want to, they can't imagine what's going on right now. And when I go other places and I'm other places, I'm like, you know, we are fighting the good fight because most people are oblivious. You know, we are not the majority here. And so one thing I wanted to say real quick is what I've been doing is just breaking down words like democracy, constitutional republic, you know, um, and then also data. I looked up Chip Roy. I'm like, okay, he's unhinged. He's unhinged, and he is going to run for AG of Texas, and that is a powerful position. And I'm like, no, we can't. We have to spread the word. This guy is unhinged. Just follow him, analyze him. He is a Nazi. He is a fascist. He's what do you call it? Tyrannical, a tyrant. And it's the weirdest thing. And he's Ted Cruz raised him. He's Ted Cruz's little girlfriend, apparently. So I did how many people are in our district, which I just got gerrymandered out of, by the way. They booted the bluest part of the city into a more Republican district, which is fine, I think, because there's actually a lady, a Democrat, running. And I'm going to go support that. And I'm in it now. She's mine. So we're going to push. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, I'm a private person, and I'm tempted to go and ask questions on Nextdoor and keep it like not political, apolitical, I suppose, and finding, because we keep hearing, you know, listen, find common themes and like putting it out there, like, tell me one thing that made you happy today. And finding themes that people, because Nextdoor terms of service, no religion, no politics, no national politics. So breaking down words, breaking down stats, and I looked up Chip Roy. I won't go down this rabbit hole, but basically only when it came down to the numbers, only like a third to 40% of the population that could vote voted yes. Like a third of the population didn't even come out to vote. So if that third, who are probably, even if you got 100 of them to come to vote, you could have shifted the vote. And so they run around like they're so representative. And I'm like, wow, dude, you only got a percentage. People just weren't paying attention, you know? Exactly. And so it's like starting there, you know, and I've kind of made that appeal before. Like a lot of you have been like Democrats your whole lives. Some of us are brand new.
That's what I think about Texas. If y'all just got your Democrats to vote, I mean, just get your Democrats to vote.
Yeah. Just get anybody.
Every single one of them is going, oh, but I'm a Dem. I live in a red state. It doesn't matter. If you all do
one
that.
is thinking that.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to just send postcards to Texas Democrats.
You know, I that's what I just keep pushing is that, you know, we need to, he likes being on social media, and let's give him social media then. Let's expose him. His crazy ass words, share it. Like, this is not okay. Like, what is going on? It feels like an alternate reality. I'm not from Texas.
It really does. When I say we're living in the upside down, I mean it. There's some things that happen that I don't recognize the world we're living in. Sometimes when I'm walking down the street.
These guys are racist. They're racist. They're hardcore racist. I had no idea. Everybody's got prejudice, bias, you know. I really had. These guys have been underground and out there, and they are racist. They're nasty, and it's so scary. I thought we were past all this, and I've been plunked down in the South, and I'm like, what is going on? Oh, crazy. So white supremacy shit, I think.
It is.
And even Mexican guys. Some of these Mexican guys think they're white too. And I'm like, just wait, guys. I know. For you.
Those are the ones that I feel the most sorry for. I'm just like,
they were born here. Yeah. And you know, I get it. I totally understand. And I love, that's what I love Texas for, is that kind of diversity and this connection to the earth and the indigenous cultures and stuff like that. And I want to fight for the indigenous and I think you could pull a lot of that population just by I think it's a name recognition. The signs that you see on houses, Trump, 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 Trump. Oh, okay, I'm new to the country. This must be a good guy. His signs are everywhere. Like, I think it boils down to just that sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank
Okay,
you,
bye.
Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Lisa.
The thing about the Democrats too, I live in a county, a township rather, that for years we were convinced that, and we were under very strong Republican control, and we were convinced that it didn't matter if we voted. And someone got smart and started, really looking at the voter rolls and was able to say there are more Democrats, more registered Democrats in this township than there are registered Republicans. And if the Democrats really all voted, like we would outnumber them. But they had us convinced for years. And the year that everybody voted, that the Republicans were gone. So I think it does, it's absolutely true. People believe, there's no point in voting. And somehow we have to work on that.
Yeah. And if we've learned anything from their takeover of social media and the even legacy media to a certain extent, I think we just need to learn. Y'all, we're behind. We're pretty behind. Sarah, if you could make it really short, okay? Because we're right up at the end. So
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, no, I just wanted to tack on that I don't think we should rest on our laurels. I think they would double down. I think they would take this as a lesson and go back to the tables and figure out a different angle. I don't think it's I think it's a big win, but I still think proceed with caution and expect them to go at a different angle. It's been so nuts. Why won't it get nutsier?
Yeah.
So many nuts. Way too many nuts.
So many nuts.
Especially in this call.
Hey, we're the best kind, as long as we have.
I'm not talking. I was talking about, I was making a rude joke about the Zoom bomber. Sorry.
Flew right over my head. It's fine. He was already out my mind. My mind.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Fine. Oh, right, y'all. So, my goodness, what a wonderful sorting soup. What do we have coming up? We do have sharing our stories next Tuesday. Tonight, though, we have Bill, what do we have coming up tonight?
We have the gun violence prevention group. They're going to be talking about new laws from Illinois to the national laws, and they do have one of the candidates locally, Nabila Syed, who won her candidacy when she was 24 years old for the Illinois House, and she is now running for the Illinois Senate. She won the Illinois House in a very red area that we hadn't gotten close back 4 years ago. She is a Muslim. She wears a hijab. She is a former debate champion of Illinois and helps coach the local teams in the local universities. Therefore, when she does her candidacy, she has about 40 young kids from high schools that knock on doors for her.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
From the debate areas. Yes, it's a real organization. Then and then tomorrow we've got coffee and conversation. It's Friday at 9 a.m. Central, and then we have unhappy happy hour at 5 Central, and then Monday we have Ed Spire doing a special rod presentation, and he has said he'll let me know this weekend when he's done what it is. So I'm way behind promoting on it. It is something controversial, though, I can tell you that. And then this weekend, Saturday at 5, we're going to be doing a phone bank. All Illinois is doing a phone bank along with California and a couple of the other states for the Virginia governor's race. And then on Sunday at 4, we're doing a phone bank to 3 of the Southern Illinois districts, and I think Cecilia is one of those areas, and we are banging our pots and pans all over the Republican candidates there, so for their votes on the big beautiful bill. So yeah, lots of things. Every day we got something going on, but with this organization, it's just like clockwork. Nobody ever feels any pressure. It just goes so smooth, right, Rebecca?
Yeah, totally, 100%.
Yes. So yeah, so that's what's going on, and as a matter of fact, I have to actually jump off to get the GVP warm up starting.
Exactly. So thank y'all so much for joining another round of Sorting Soup, where there's always layers and every voice adds something unique. Y'all, we had a great tasty bowl tonight. I am so thankful, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Even that little gnat that was here, no biggie. We're bigger than that. We're good. We're solid. Thank you so much for everything that you added to this wonderful evening. And I look forward to next week. If you have any questions, you can email us, and we'll see you soon. All right, y'all, have a lovely week.